Hey folks, welcome back to the Permission Statement. I am Johnny X-Ray. So today I am not far from what I call the spot of the foul, or the location of the tragedy that is being it's being looked at right now. You do a little bit of research on those people. They seem like adventurers and well-traveled, and they were Nike executives, and they clearly loved each other. And for both of them to be wiped off the earth at the same time in such a fashion, doing what they loved, that's a tragedy. Nobody would, I don't even know. That's always been something I'm worried about, is if you were to be with somebody you loved at that time or that moment of passing, it's got to exacerbate things just that much more horribly. But things like this didn't just kind of like happen. I know it's being expressed as a freak accident, and maybe it was, but there are exacerbating factors that exist here in the valley that can be looked at. There's safety that's overlooked, and I keep putting these videos forward, and I'm going to keep putting more videos forward. For example, a video of somebody putting my son's life at risk while driving another person's company's vehicle, not their own, just as an employee, but putting my life, my son's life, and that company at risk by just being reckless and thumbing their nose at safety. So I'll be putting that video forward, and I'm putting all these videos so that I have supporting evidence for my premise, because you run into that here when you go into these things. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be upset if you push forward the fact that there's complacency here. They don't like that. They just kind of just want to mill over things and keep it down and keep it quiet, because they're paid very well to do so. And we can't put profits before people. We can't. And there's a lot of stuff that needs to be evaluated. So I put, coming down today, before I came here and did this run to where I'm at right now, coming down the road, there was somebody out in the middle of the road in a very tight area. And I'm trying to express to folks, if you've never been here, it's hard to kind of explain how the bike lane works in so many places, and dominion of the road, and the speed limits, and people on your bumper, and then going around blind curves. And at times the attitude of the driver is not well, but sometimes it's the attitude of the bicyclist. And we got to get better at figuring out how to keep people safe. But the elephant in the room for today is the alcohol consumption. And I've been driving for years, and I see quite a bit. My grandfather passed away from drinking and driving. That's how I ended up here in America. My family's from Morelia, Michoacan, and my father's father was an alcoholic. And he was driving around drinking with one of his relatives and drove off some kind of embankment, and he passed away. That pushed my grandmother up closer to the border to find work, and eventually an American war hero, John Jaswinka, was down there and met my grandmother and fell in love with her and brought my father and her other kids to America. And so that's how our legacy began here. But I never met my grandfather because of alcoholism. I grew up at 4084 Silverado Trail down here with my foster family at some point in my life. My foster mother passed away at Queen of the Valley because of alcoholism eventually. Something was eating at her that she drank herself to death, essentially. I've had friends die and their spouse be sued because they were drinking and driving. Unfortunately, I'm married to somebody who has a history of drinking and driving. I've been hit by a drunk driver and had to chase them down, and they tried to do a hit and run in San Diego, and so on and so on and so on. I saw a little 4-year-old boy die in front of us in Santa Rosa. It was either 400 Rodeo Lane or 300 Rodeo Lane. I can't remember. It was the apartments that we lived in. But there's all this life experience that makes me passionate about this. And my son's life means more to me than anything. And I'm sure other folks, their family's life means quite a bit to them too. So, the day I made the video, the follow-up video, I was there and I bumped into somebody who's surely a qualified expert and is one of the people who has eyes on this issue. And it was a mentally nutritional conversation. And we both agreed, we exchanged information about these experiences that makes us so passionate and driven that we want to put public safety first. And it's just, it's hard to fathom sometimes how easily that can be just washed to the side. So, after making that video, I pulled into a place, and I'm not going to throw people's names out there or places' names, but I pulled into an establishment, and as I was pulling in, I'm making a video. I made a video of it. I see people riding around on bicycles getting drunk as they're riding the bicycles. And this behavior is encouraged. And I'm thinking, like, if I owned a business, which I got my little transportation thing going here, I would think that would be a liability. And if an adjuster or an insurance company was like, hey, why are you letting people ride on bicycles on your property, drinking your wine on a bicycle where they could get hurt and create a liability? But for some reason that escapes people. But after I see them, I see other people enjoying their experience. And not long thereafter, I saw the same people that were drinking. There was two groups. Each one of them got behind the wheel and drove out onto Silverado Trail from that place. Then, as the people that I was giving a ride to were taking photographs, a man and a woman pulled up, leaving the same place that was also in there drinking, pulls up right next to us, and the wife and the husband and the wife were trying to figure out who was less drunk that would be the driver. So the husband stepped to the plate, came around, and he pulls out right on the Silverado Trail, not from where I'm at, and almost caused a collision right there. So this is happening on a regular basis. So you factor in, imagine you're just a driver riding up and down the valley here, or you're a bicyclist, and there's people that are going place to place and drinking. Does that make any sense? But yet it seems like it's encouraged. And I showed y'all the sign. You can go to places and you'll see bike racks out there. Now, if it says, please go see the wineries, there's very few people that are going to go to a winery to not wine taste. The wineries don't want people just to come and look at their beautiful facades. They want them to come buy wine. Now, people may come and ship wine out, but more than likely, who's going to go ship wine without tasting it? So there's this elephant in the room as to why people are being encouraged to ride bicycles on this crazy thing right here with cars zipping by, pulling out and getting inebriated, right? Makes no sense at all. But then you have the other elephant in the room that people are sitting there doing these experiences and still taking the risks of getting behind the wheel. And for me, that means they're putting my family's life at risk. They're putting other people's family at risk. So people come here and enjoy this wonderful thing, but don't put our lives in danger. Don't put other people's lives in danger that are taking the steps to get an Uber, to hire a black car service, whatever. They're taking the steps, but those people who aren't are making decisions for everybody, and something's got to be done about that. Because when I worked in a restaurant, I shared with y'all in another video the experience about when I came on duty at Bodine at the Chowder Hut in San Francisco, that some guy had been getting drunk, and the person who had got him drunk left for the day and left him there. The guy kept trying to get on a Hayabusa motorcycle. It got crazy. Had to do a citizen's arrest, tackle him off the bike, he crashed into it. It was a big old crazy shenango that shouldn't have happened. So if you serve alcohol to somebody, you have a responsibility to not let them get behind the wheel until they're ready. And I don't think that's being happening, because I'm sitting here watching it many a times. I'm just sitting there watching these people drinking and doing their thing and then getting behind the wheel. I had a bad experience with an employer that I drove for here. I put a video about that too. He thought it was okay to sit there and have me drive for him all day long, drinking and stuff, smoozing with the corporate executives who wanted to see what their clients are getting. After we dropped all of them off, this fucking idiot goes around on the driver's seat, because it's his vehicle, and drives in the fog on the 37 with me in the car, putting my safety in general. He's swerving all over the road and shit like this. I'm just kind of like, bam, I'm done with that shit. So it shall be my mission to bring this forward in hopes that the people who can make those decisions and who can compel a change will start to take this serious and start putting people before profits. Because this is a wonderful, beautiful thing. People come from all over the country, all over the world, and they should be safe. And people who, if you're driving from the Bay Area, because the people that are coming here, they're either in a rental car, which who's gonna drive a rental car and drink and drive? I don't know. Some of these people look like they're in their personal cars, so they may be driving here and then think that it's okay to sit there and go to a winery and get inebriated and then be like, yeah, I'm going to take the chance because I can handle my alcohol or I'm good. That's not proper and fair to everybody else that's here just trying to work, just trying to live, or just trying to come do the experience, and they're paying the money to sit there and get legally and safely transported. So what difference would it make? How would that be proper if you got all these people that are paying for it, but there's other people that are like, you know what, I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna drink, and then I'm gonna go put those people who take those steps and go to those lengths to be safe and keep everybody else safe, and those people are gonna negate it. And then the people that are like, oh, well, I gotta make my money, so hey, if they're getting drunk and they get behind the wheel, not my problem. Wrong. The person that I was speaking to that day, that's from that side that like, hey, you have an obligation to the company and to the business, to the people of the community, whether it's pesticides, whether it's emissions, or whether you're letting people get behind the wheel and drink and drive. You have a duty. You have a obligation, contractual obligation to whoever provides your insurance. I don't think they'd be okay with y'all letting these people drink and then getting behind the wheel. But people are kind of afraid to like go and say, hey, you shouldn't do this. I'm gonna be 100% with you. I'm tired of it. So, and the Highway Patrol supports us on this. Some people will try to buy those $11.99 plates and think that that's just gonna get them off. And I spoke to the Highway Patrol at length about that. And they said, no, we don't like that. That when people do that, that bothers them, that they think that they can spend some money and get those plates and that they can just drink and drive and put other people at risk. So I'm sure as the CHP is watching this, they are going to concur that no, you should not let people get behind the wheel when they've been drinking. You know what I mean? It's your responsibility as the person who's given them the alcohol and the establishment that's given them the alcohol, whether it's somebody riding a bicycle or somebody that gets behind the wheel of a car. So, with that being said, I have more videos to put out, and I've been told by certain people that they can attack you, like they can mess with your account. They can report it if you're saying something they don't like or yada yada. And I call those snipers, right? They're sitting behind their desk, behind their screen. You say something that they don't want you to say, and then so they'll all try to report it under certain terms. It happens on the network, on the Nextdoor app. There's some people that are, I don't know, that's how they do their thing. They snipe you from behind the screen. Look, hear me now. I'll put leaflets out. I'll print leaflets out. I'll go door to door. I have a sign on my vehicle. It's LED. I could put it on there. I could use a different platform. People come here and they share. We establish a connection. They're all over the country. People come here from everywhere. I don't have to go nowhere. I could stand out there with the sign, but I'm the kind of person that will travel all the way across the country and stop in each different town and city and bring the awareness for this on my way to DC and then utilize my platform with my veteran brothers to go and ask some questions. And all I'm asking for is the people that are here that have a responsibility to protect the people, whether it's a business owner or county officials that are elected to do so, that they get busy. Because with this having happened, it's time to sit down and have some serious conversations and maybe change the dynamic. Some people aren't going to like that because they're going to be like, oh, well, that might impact my earnings. But again, people over profit. I digress. The permission statement, I'm Johnny X-Ray. I got to get back to work.